Today is Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. We're at the Downtown Main Library. I'm Clarity Amrein, and I'm interviewing Strobobean local musicians. So if you guys want to start with your introductions,
Okay.
go ahead.
Hi, I'm Katrina, and I am the lead singer and guitarist of Strobobean.
And I'm Jake. I am the drummer of Strobobean.
Great. So the essential question at Cincinnati, where are you both from?
I am from Springfield, Ohio, so kind of between like Dayton and Columbus, and I went to college here for 1 year, and then moved away again, and then I moved back in 2017.
How about you? Where are you from?
I've lived here since college, but I know you're not really from here unless you went to high school here. I could tell everyone exactly where you went to high school. So I'm not from here. I went to high school in Columbus and moved around as a kid a bit.
So both of you growing up, were you interested in music? Did you play music? Did your family play music?
Yeah, I had a really musical family. My dad has been, he's a musician, professional basically. And my grandfather was in the symphony. So my grandfather was a clarinetist in Dayton, the Dayton Philharmonic, and played in symphonies. And my dad has played in symphonies and for orchestras and all kinds of things. And he's like the kind of person that can pick up like any instrument and just learn it. And I think that I was really blessed with that skill too, which is like a blessing and a curse, because to be able to like kind of play guitar makes it easy to not try very hard to get really good. So it's kind of like a weird place to be musically. But anyway, I was around a lot of music growing up. My mom listened to oldies and like the Beatles and stuff, and my dad listened to classical, so I had this strange blend of that. Yeah.
Very cool.
And yeah, my family is musical in a number of ways. I took it more seriously than most in my family, but I don't know, I had a drive to want to learn violin early when I was a kid. I kind of thought I would just be able to pick it up and play it immediately, or anything that I heard in my head, and that didn't turn out to be the case. But yeah, I don't know. The drive started early. And then, I don't know, yeah. In my immediate family, music is more kind of casual, or just a private love, I guess, than a vocation or an everyday activity. But got a couple of pros in my extended family doing this or that, musically speaking.
Nice. Yeah. Do you feel like you wanted to pursue it as a career? Did they encourage you to pursue it as a profession?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I kind of grew up in a middle class, aspiring to upper middle class environment. And so music was kind of treated almost as part of a well-rounded young person's kind of upbringing and poise training and stuff like that. And when I don't know, I think there was a little bit of an adjustment period with my family when it appeared that I was taking it more seriously than that. Oh well.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like the polar opposite, where you have two professional musician parents.
Yeah, I think so. I also think my dad wanted to go to college for clarinet. He wanted to just fully go all in on clarinet and in music. And my grandpa was no, you really shouldn't do that. It's so hard to make a living. He really discouraged it. So then my dad ended up going to school for engineering, and I think he kind of regretted it in a lot of ways his whole life. So I think that definitely set it up for him and my mom to both be you do whatever you want. We're totally in for that and stuff. Yeah, it's weird how the generations ripple effect into you, for sure.
Yes, it is, definitely. So both of you, how did you get to Cincinnati? You said you went to college here.
Yeah. So I went to UC my freshman year, and a whole other different narrative we don't need to go into. Ended up leaving after a year and went back home to Springfield, and then was like in Dayton, Yellow Springs, like that area.
What year was that?
What's that?
What year was that?
Oh, so I was in Springfield back through college and into like 2014, I would say, and then I was living in like Dayton and then Yellow Springs. So it's 2017, I was living in Yellow Springs with these two guys, one of which I had just broken up with, and we were like in this little house together, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, like what's going on with my life. I was like freelance writing and not really doing anything like creatively, and just kind of like didn't really have like a lot of people around me that were like, you know, artists or creative or like queers or anything. Like I was just kind of in this like really small bubble. But I had met my friend Henry Wilson of Pop Empire fame, whose father is Michael Wilson, like Cincinnati artist staple, I feel like. I met him when I went to college here, and so he and I always kind of talked about music, and he texted me out of the blue in like, I think April 2017, and he was like, do you like to travel and do you like to play guitar? And I was like, yes. And he was like, do you want to fill in on a tour that Pop Empire is doing? And I was like, yes. So I did that with Pop Empire, and I met Jake on that tour, and we fell in love. And then we kind of started dating, and I started playing with Pop Empire, and I was like, well, I'm moving back to Cincinnati, and that's how I got here again. Yeah.
Great. For love, for music, for all of it.
For love and music.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome. What did you study at UC?
I think at UC I was doing journalism, but I ultimately got my degree in English literature from Wright State.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. And so, what brought you to Cincinnati, and how did you get involved in that Pop Empire tour?
I came to Cincinnati because I got a good deal to go to University of Cincinnati and studied English as well. After, I don't know, I wanted to study music, but that didn't work out. Did English instead. But anyway, after college, I kind of, I don't know, I mean, I lived downtown in Cincinnati for a year and like kind of started meeting people on the music scene, playing in various bands or just, you know, yeah, this and that. Started playing in a band with Molly Sullivan for a couple of years called Prim. It was like, I don't know, kind of a short-lived thing, but that definitely helped me kind of like meet a number of other people playing around Cincinnati. And it might have been through that I first saw Pop Empire. Although I think the first time I saw them was at a DIY space on McMicken Avenue called the Tinderbox, which is just like a horrifically like hazardous environment. Like, I don't know, but a friend of mine was renting the space, or like the kind of like interior space, and had access to this kind of like sprawling, fallen in warehouse space behind his apartment. And so he would do shows back there. And yeah, I think Pop Empire, I saw do a two-piece show at one of those DIY events at Tinderbox one time. And I don't know, I thought they were real cool. They had a huge sound system, and I don't know, just like everything seemed really dialed in, and like they had this like kind of like, I don't know, kind of like unhinged kind of synthesizer side, and then this kind of like electric, like desert kind of rock band kind of side. So I don't know, I thought they were real cool.
Was it
and, like,
Henry and...
It was Henry and Ryan Back, yeah, Henry Wilson and Ryan Back at the time. They had already gone through a couple iterations over the years. by that point. But yeah, it was the two of them, Henry kind of singing and playing some keyboards, and then Ryan playing guitar, and then like a robot drummer, on a track. And I don't know if I like put a bug in somebody's ear. Like Ryan and I ended up living together at a rental house on Pullen Avenue in Northside, and I think we kind of like got to be closer friends because of that. And then somehow I don't know, started playing drums with Pop Empire. They would hear me practicing, and somehow. But so that was like 2014, I think.
Okay, so how did Strobobean form? You guys started dating, you guys got together. Tell me the origins of Strobobean.
Yeah, I think so. Like I'd been in a band when I was in my early 20s, and it was called Strange Wave, and it was when I lived in Springfield, and it was a very very emotionally toxic and intense situation, because I am always romantically involved with the people I'm playing music with somehow, and this person, anyway, another story for another time. But
I want these stories.
What's that?
I want these stories.
I know the stories that I keep putting over here. Yeah. So anyway, it was spanned. It was like. This guy that I was with was encouraging, initially he was the one that was like, you should try writing music. You should try this. I think you'd be good at it. And so he's the reason I started, kind of writing songs when I was in, 18, late high school. So when I first started writing music. And it felt really good to me, and it felt, pretty natural. And he just kept kind of, pushing in. He was like, well, we should have a band. So I'm grateful that all happened because I had this experience. But it was very he and I had a really bad relationship, so it was really hard to have that space associated with the music. And anyway, we released an album, we released an EP, and then we kind of went our separate ways a little while later. So I hadn't really been playing music. I think there have been so many things in my life that have been kind of connected to music that feel really intense. My relationship with music has always felt kind of tumultuous because there's these weird side strands to it or something that I'm always trying to work out, still consistently, continually. But when I was playing with Pop Empire, that was super fun. I loved it. And then Jake was Jake had his own songwriting project, and he's a songwriter, so he was playing shows then under his name Sky Hank. And we were just talking about writing and stuff, and he was the one that kind of encouraged me to play around with it more, I feel like. Or you were I think I was already kind of oh yeah, I like playing guitar. So I was kind of coming back to it, but you were I could play drums for you if you want. Am I making this up? Is this true? Does this just seem right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember being discouraging or anything, but I don't think I was the one who was you gotta do it, babe.
Yeah. All I have this vision of is we used to have a practice space in About Space before they kicked all of the musicians out, which I think is also an important thing, a story to tell about the Cincinnati music scene and how hard it is to maintain these spaces for bands to practice and stuff. But we, Pop Empire, practiced in the basement of About Space. There was just I don't know, there was this maroon carpet down and all this icky gear and broken cymbals. There were other people that shared the space. It was always dirty and
mice would die in the HVAC system.
I remember sending you a picture of a bug on my guitar. I was like, look at this bug. And you were like, that's a roach. And I was like, oh, I didn't know they were that small. I was like, okay, it's disgusting. But anyway, I just have visions of us, or memories of us being in that room and me showing you something that I had written and you being oh, maybe getting on the drums. Maybe that feels the first memory that I have of Strobobean. Just being in this gross basement and me being do you like it? And we did, I think that we had 5 or 6 songs that we got together for the first set, which we played at the Comet.
Just a 2-piece set.
Yeah, a 2-piece, and we had like a drum track for one song that Jake played like a second guitar thing on, and I like looped a bunch of things. Like I had a loop pedal, so I'd kind of play like a bass riff and then guitar over it.
When was that first show at the Comet?
It was in the summer of 2018, right? Yeah. Oh, wow.
No idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
And I
about
can't
right.
remember who else played that night. Was it? Wait, that was like the Sky Hank
Oh,
residency.
yeah. I think that was.
Yeah. So then Jake's project had the residency at the Comet. So I think we played the last night of the residency. And so did Pop Empire, right?
Mhm.
So you just played 3 sets in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, we used to be so charmed by that. Doing that.
Never again.
No, now I'm like 30 minutes and I'm like, I'm gonna go sit down now.
Do you guys have influences as a band? Like, what did you want to sound like? What do you write songs about? What's the vibe? I know you describe yourself as shoegaze, like femme-powered shoegaze is how I read your bio,
Yeah,
too,
and I
so-
feel like that's been
Who do you-
evolving. So I don't know, like this is an interesting time to do this interview because I think like I mentioned, I've had a lot of like just like conflicting feelings about music or just like it. I do other forms of like art, like I'm a writer and that feels like a word writer, and that feels easier for me to maintain like emotional boundaries or to kind of like maintain my identity in than music does, because there's something about, or like a lot of things about music that just like bring the ego in a lot, I think, like, or just because you're constantly, unless you're just like solo recording, you're like playing with other people and you're engaging with other people even if you're not playing live, and like then obviously when you're playing live you're presenting this thing, and then there's also like a big issue for me is like Instagram or like building like an online presence and just like trying to be like, this is who we are, like this is what we are doing, like I don't know, like love me please God, love me. And it just like gets hard to be like, what do I want to do, like what do I want to sound like, what do I want to express and stuff. So I think anyway, to answer your question, our influences, I think like I think there's definitely a lot of shoegaze. I've always been like a big My Bloody Valentine girl, and Stereolab and Blonde Redhead. I feel like these are all pretty like apparent. I think a little Sonic Youthy. I think like I mentioned, like, you know, I feel like the way that I play guitar is almost like clumsy, or like, I don't know, just like I'm not very like meticulous, you know, and I think that that's partly because I have been too lazy to get meticulous about it, but I also think that there is just like, I like the idea of making guitar sound almost not like guitar, or like I like it when I'm like, there's a song that I really like and there's like a part of it that I'm always like kind of like thinking of, and then it's only like 3 years later that I'm like, wait, that's literally just a guitar with like reverb on it or something. Like sometimes like it's just like trying to make it like be in the space as like, I don't know, like taking the identity away from it or something. I don't know. I'm really rambling. What do you think our influences are?
Well, I mean, the bands you mentioned, I think that is kind of like the pantheon that we like look to as like direct influences. And like in latter days, dry cleaning a little bit more and more. But, and like, I don't know, for me, the bands that I see as having influenced them, or like, I don't know, come before them, particularly in a guitar kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like avant-garde, kind of like scary guitar. So like, I don't know, Gang of Four, and like, trying to think.
Well,
There's
Susie
somebody-
and the Banshees.
Yeah. So that was like something I realized, I don't know,
Yeah.
like listening to them, or listening to Dry Cleaning a little while ago, I was like, oh yeah, this is very Susie and the Banshees to me. So, I don't know, kind of like yeah, rounding up some of those post-punk, like, guitar, like, canon kind of greats, and, like, looking at, I don't know, the, like, ways that you could kind of, like, color outside of the lines while still, I don't know, representing the song, like, I don't know, and yeah, a very kind of, like, sound first kind of approach to guitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not, yeah. We're not obsessing over classical training or, like, the right positioning or whatever like that. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you get it to fill that space or get your teeth to buzz in the right kind of way during that particular part of the song?
Yeah. I think, like, we've started to become less, like, of the sort of, like, traditional, like, shoegaze thing and more, like, I don't know, like, post-rock, like, desert haunted or something. But, like, I think, like, we have less, like, traditional guitar pieces, so that's made it really, like, we can't really play as a two-piece anymore. Like, we, like, have to have a bass. So, I don't know. That's a thing that's evolved, but.
Can you both walk me through your musical career as a band, Strobobean? What albums have you made, and where did you record them?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about kind of the origins?
Yeah.
I had a couple here from was it Bandcamp, but feel free to talk about whatever you want. EPs,
Yeah.
like B-side singles, whatever.
Yeah. So we were recording what we were just gonna have as our demo. So we started playing in 2018. We were like, we want to go on tour and play out of town, so we need to record songs so we can book shows. So we were just gonna record some demos for that purpose and kind of just like send them privately, but we ended up being like, these sound pretty good. So we had 4 songs, I think, that we recorded in our apartment in Northside, that Jake kind of like engineered, and we released those as what?
What?
Okay, I thought you had a thought. Okay, we released those as the as our EP Winter in 2018, and yeah, we just put them out ourselves. We got these really cute tapes made by, I think it's called like AB, I don't know, it's something in Cleveland that does tapes. We had our friend print like the insert, so we tried to go very like DIY, like analog with it. And then the following year in 2019, we put out, is that when we put out Boo or no? No.
I have no idea.
Okay, no. In 2019, we released nothing, but we played a lot of live shows, and we went on some big tours. At that time, Brianna Kelly was our bass player, and she plays in like Soften, and she has her solo project. Brianna Kelly's really lovely. She's a really lovely person, a really inspiring musician. It was really fun to have her in our band. And so we went on a big like 3-week tour at the end of 2019 with her, and I feel like we had a lot of like momentum at that time, and obviously that got cut short in 2020. So that's like another, yeah, I think like big part of like big bump in the road for Strobobean and for anyone. Like, so in 2020, we were kind of just like at a standstill, and I'm certainly not someone that was like one of those people that's like, oh my God, lockdown, I'm getting so much done. Like, you know, I was just like sad and stressed out and frightened for my life and everyone that I love. But we did finally in that summer all wore masks in Dro. What is Dro's last name?
Alessandro Corona.
Alessandro Corona. So you played in...
He was in Prim Molly
yeah.
Sullivan band with me, so I knew him pretty well from that.
Yeah. But he plays in Leggy. I don't know. He's a man about town, and he records a lot. So he recorded one song for us called Boo that we recorded in his house that summer, and we released it with on like a little digital split with our friends a band called Scrunchies from Minneapolis. They're like a punk band, femme punk band. So we released that Split Online in 2020. And then what? I think that then it wasn't until thank you. Oh wait, yeah, Walking Alone. Okay, wait, yeah, we did release that in 2019. You're like, actually okay, so yeah, so we had the EP Winter, and then in 2019 we released Walking Alone, which was like a 2-song release with the song Walking Alone, and what was the other one? Ghost. And Henry Wilson recorded those at his house. He had this like really cool space in Price Hill at the time that used to be like a funeral home at one point, but it was just like this like 3-story building, and he had this like big room that he would hold like DIY shows in, but also like do recordings in and stuff. And that's no longer a space for musicians either. But yeah, we recorded it there, which was like fun. I don't know. I like recording with Henry because he's very like meticulous but like down to earth, and I feel comfortable with him. So it was cool. So yeah, 2019, Walking Alone. 2020, Boo. Then Radio Silence. And then in 2022, we were like playing some shows with Ray Fisher as our bass player, and we were kind of like writing together as 3 of us. We never really wrote with Brianna quite as much, but Ray, we kind of had like a little bit of a good writing rhythm for a while. So we wrote the song Kitchen, and we recorded that, I guess, probably in late 2022, like that winter, with John Delvaux, who's also in Soften, among other things. And we recorded Kitchen, and we recorded a song called Sleep On It that we still haven't put out because we're sleeping on it before we put it out. But we put out Kitchen with a music video to accompany it in 2023. Yeah. Would you add anything?
Oh, I could probably find things to ramble about, but I don't know. No, I guess not.
If that was 2023, what have you been up to since? What are you working on?
Well, I keep like mysteriously alluding to my complicated relationship with music, so I've been kind of working through that. But we wrote some other songs with Ray. Like, we definitely have songs that we want to record. It's just hard to protect like literal space and like mental space. I feel like to get that done, it's been like challenging lately. Like Jake was in a really good rehearsal spot for a while, and he was like investing in microphones and kind of getting a set up to record demos, and was recording some of his own stuff. Sounded really cool, and we were like, cool, we can get in there and record demos. And then that like kind of last minute got taken away, so you had to move out. So we're a little bit in a flux of just like trying to find like this rhythm of like space to do things in, because I feel like I need to do it really like privately at this point. Like, I think to keep like the kind of like ego out of it, or like just to really like focus on and take my time with like what we want it to sound like. So we have these songs that I'm excited about, and I'm also like urgently like we need to record these before they feel like really old and boring. But the last like 4 years, my New Year's resolution list has included record the full-length album. So it has to happen. It has to happen now. Yeah.
It will. No, I empathize with you about not being able to find, like rehearsal space. It feels like there was a lot of momentum before the pandemic, and then a lot of the spaces kind of bottomed out. So.
Yeah.
Are you still playing shows at this point? Are you still like trying to?
Yeah, I think we do play shows from time to time. We played our last one in October last year, so it's been a while. I think like it's just I feel like I've just been like in a space where I'm kind of trying to reclaim like my musical expression, my relationship with music, like for myself, and make it less about like I don't know, like it just feels like it's been hard to get my feet beneath me on it for a while because I'm always feeling like I need to react to something, or if I'm like, oh, well, they just put this out. You know, it's like I got, I think, really caught up in that in like 2019, 2020, where people are like, oh, we released a thing. And I'm like, oh my God, we had to release something. And then you release something when you're not like happy with it yet, or you're not ready, or you haven't thought it through, and that doesn't feel good. So like, I just want to make it really about like, you know, fulfilling for me and like for us first and foremost, because I think that's also the way that it will ultimately like present the best to the world. And I think that, you know, we maybe just move slow, or like maybe I just move slow on that, and the world should slow down anyway. So I'm getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
Nice.
Yeah.
This mysterious, complicated, tumultuous relationship with music, how are you working through that? You can say as much or as little as you want, but if you want to expound, you should.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I said, it's just, it's definitely a space where it's very easy to compare yourself to other people, what they're doing, how they're doing it, what they look like when they're doing it, like how they're socializing when they're doing it, you know, like, I just think like I feel like I am someone that if I'm not like engaging in like at adequate depth with other people, I feel like anxious. Like it's hard for me to like do anything that's not like to feel like myself while I'm doing something that's at like just kind of a surface level. And I think that like to try to keep up with this like speed and this sense of urgency with music, or like, you know, like I'm 36, so I was like turning 30 2019, 2020, like I was just sort of like starting to feel that like 30s like stress, like and it's not to say that like being 6 years into that makes that like feel less urgent, but I think just trying to be like literally like what is the point of being on this earth? Like, what are we doing? Like, what really matters? Like, what are we really going to remember? And like, I have to like actively remind myself that like the thing that like I'm taking away from this is just like the way that I show up and be like present, be present with other people, be present in the moment, like notice and observe things, like express myself. Like, I just have to kind of be like, I'm constantly reminding myself, like, what matters, like, why am I doing this? Like, what do I want from it? And if I'm just, like, rushing through, like, a song idea just so that I can put something out, like, it doesn't feel good. I never feel good about it. It never feels like me and doesn't feel like it resonates. So just trying to be, like, it's okay to, like, take the time to make sure that I'm, like, doing it in the way that actually feels, like, exciting and good to me, which is really hard because I think that there's also a lot of like things about playing music or like technically like recording like that are like bother me, like my senses, like dirty cables and like messes and like pedals not working. Like there are all these like little things about it that I find really stressful. So it's just kind of this thing of being like accepting myself, like, okay, like you're feeling extra anxious, so the dust on this cable is making you extra upset right now. So, I don't know, like it's just like accepting myself and like letting myself be myself, and then letting the music be a part of that, because I know that it is a part of it, but it's like, you know, it's kind of been like batted away because I've let it be like more about presenting some kind of way to other people than being like myself and like doing what I feel like I'm here to do or something. I don't know.
No, that's well said. No, I feel like I understand that feeling. Yeah. I feel like truly creative people unfortunately have to play the game of like the, you know, advertising and marketing themselves. Do you feel that pressure as a musician? Do you feel what she's feeling? Do you have a different relationship to it?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. In many ways, I feel like I've kind of, I don't know, the shape of my creative life is very much like a result of those pressures, whether I like it or not, and whether I feel or seem to be engaging with it or not, I guess. Like whether I'm like, I don't know, very visible on the scene at a particular moment and putting out a lot of material, which, you know, feels like a rare enough kind of case. But like more often it's like, I don't know, doing the work like kind of privately, like trying to show up and practice and improve and develop a kind of a conception of like, you know, what is my vision, what direction am I going, what do I want to present to people, etc. Like, I don't know, even there the like pressures like creep in, these kind of like, I don't know. For me it's kind of like I don't know, the relentless creep of capitalism or something, but like there's it's hard to talk about music in a way that's not kind of like imbued with this music industry kind of ethic or language or intention or like, I don't know. It's just like there's real, like I don't know if I or we or our culture or just like our language, we have like a way of talking about it that doesn't kind of bring up like ideas of, I don't know, just like how are we going to sell this, how, like what is the kind of like, I don't know, ideal audience, or like what kind of like level of exposure can we expect of this, or like, I don't know. So yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's something that can like knock me off my balance when I'm like literally just practicing something for myself, by myself, like, I don't know. Not to say too much about my inner landscape and my demons and stuff, it's just like it really is like a persistent kind of, it's like, I don't know, little, what do I say? I don't know. I call it like the cops in my mind, like, but.
Yeah, I appreciate that you both are like authenticity driven. Like I feel like it's really hard. You know, you all have talked about a lot of things actually about, you mentioned some folks that you'd like to work with. You mentioned, you know, what you've created and recorded and how, and I like that you're kind of delving into the emotional part too. A lot of artists don't do that actually. Do you want to talk about any other folks that you've worked with or want to work with in Cincinnati? Any accomplishments as a band that you wanna celebrate? Funny after that whole competition idea.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I think one thing that I would mention is when we did the music video for Kitchen, and kind of prior to that, so Ray Fisher had her residency at the Comet, which Strobobean played, and she was trying to like incorporate dance into every night of the week somehow. And Kitchen is a very like short and like upbeat song, and I love, you know, like Y2K or just like general like choreography. Like I love like dance videos, and was definitely like always in the living room with the like camcorder, like trying to like do the dance with my friends or whatever. And I wish that like there's like an alternate universe where I'm a backup dancer as my career. Like I would love that. But so I was like, yeah, they're this couple, John and Cody. It's funny because I don't know their last names because they're just like this like unit, John and Cody, that I feel like everyone knows. But they own I think that their studio is called like Dance Emporium. And they're just both like Movement Emporium, yeah. And they're both like professionally trained dancers, like, and they've done like literal like backup dancing. Like I feel like one of them danced for like, what's that? Like, what's her name? Sia? Is that her name?
I think that sounds right.
Okay. Yeah, so they're extremely cool and badasses, and I asked them if they would want to like choreograph a dance for Kitchen and perform it at our like like, it was, I think that was when we were, like, debuting the song, maybe. Yeah, I think we debuted the song live at that show, and they did, like, a dance. And it was, like, a really packed night at the Comet, and they were just, like, you know, if you've been at the Comet, it's just, like, you're just, like, on the floor. So we're just, like, on the floor by the windows, and they're just sort of, like, in front of, like, everyone at the tables, and they're just, like, doing their dance. So it was, like, really fun. And, yeah, we asked them then if they would want to be in the music video for it. So they kind of like dumbed down the choreography a little so that we would all be able to do it, so that we could do like a little like dance music video. And we had some other like students in it and stuff too. So it was like really, really sweet. And I loved doing that. And we worked with this guy, Previn, who's like a real sweetie, whose last name I also don't know. I'm so bad at names, but Previn, he does like some video stuff. He's done some music videos for like Leggy and maybe some others. And I like, yeah, I think that that's the other thing about like going a little slower that I like, because I think like that kind of like more like playful collaboration where it's not just about like, it's not about like what's our like return on investment, like what are we like selling, what are we like getting, you know, like it's like I paid these people and it's not like we like got anything out of it, and that doesn't matter. Like it's like I just want to make things that are like really fun, and there are like so many people in Cincinnati that I don't know. I mean, yeah, like there are a lot of cool creatives, and just like any opportunity to like be kind of like playful, like I would love to. Like at some point, like, you know, I used to play in Leggy, and at some point like Veronique and I were talking about like doing like a co-writing thing, which I think would be funny and cool, like our styles blended, and would love to like record with Henry more maybe. Henry's done some like drum tracks for us. I guess we did play as a duo at some point in the last, like maybe last summer or something. In 2025 we played with some drum tracks that Henry made. I just think, yeah, in general, like being less competitive and less gatekeepy, and like just like also being like vulnerable. Like I feel like I'm always worried that no one takes me seriously or likes what we're doing, or you know, I have a lot of insecurities, and I'm really self-conscious, and it's something that I have to work through like constantly all the time, to be quite frank. And so I think that it takes a lot of like vulnerability on my part to be like, I think you're like really cool what you're doing, would you want to do this? And it's like a really scary thing to do, but I think just challenging myself to do that more. And I'm not even answering the question because I'm not giving you specific names, but I'm having trouble with thinking of anyone by name right now. What do you think, Jake?
What do I think? I mean, I think that I have a little bit of a personal kind of like radical individualist kind of like tear that or like characteristic that I need to like surgically remove from my body and process. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, that's, I think just like my automatic comfort zone and my kind of automatic way of working is just like, what can I do myself? And yeah, I don't know. It's just not going to work long term. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to like flame Cincinnati too hard, but there is like I feel like there's a sense, we've talked about this, of like, I don't know, and this is like radical editorial, like, I don't know, me just making shit up, but like it seems to me that there's a kind of like weird, like Cincinnati has like a big city identity, and we have some like genuine like big city talent and like a lot of like really great things going on. But it's almost like we don't truly have like the big city critical mass, or maybe just the anonymity to the point that, I don't know, like it seems like there's just like a guardedness around, like everybody's kind of got their like lane, and if you have a unique lane here, you guard it from other people because there's not really room. I mean, there's hardly room enough for like one person in each lane here. So like, I don't know, I think there's this kind of just attitude and approach, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody else in my isolationist kind of way. Like, you know, I need to protect mine, and I need to like guard like my verve and my flavor and my uniqueness from kind of like everybody else around here. I don't know. Hey, it's in the record now. I don't know how much of that is like literally a personal problem or like how much of that is real, but that's just kind of like my experience in Cincinnati is like a little bit too much guardedness and people siloing themselves off, and like, I don't know. We could learn to take ourselves a little less seriously, maybe. Kind of like embrace the fact that none of us are like paying all of our bills with our art, and maybe be a little more generous with the opportunities that we have. But I don't know.
I think that's also like the thing of being like the one to be vulnerable and being like, I think that what you do is really cool. Would you want to like do something together? Like, you know, because I feel like it's like probably like almost everyone that I'm thinking of as being like the people that probably think I'm dumb also like have some of that thinking, you know? And I think that that's like a lesson I'm really trying to like force on myself right now, where it's like you can wait around and see if someone like acknowledges you, but also maybe you just have to be like the bigger person and take like the first step to be like, I want to work with you. I did think of like two specific names that I would love to mention, and I've never, so one is Stephen Patoda. What? Stephen Patoda, who I don't even know, where do you begin with his credentials? He's
been in the orbit of our band for a long time because he and Brianna were dating when she was playing with us.
Yeah.
Now they're married
but he has his own project that he's been like playing lately, and it's just like so inspiring. Like it's just so locked in, like it sounds so good. It's so like the music is so cool, and the live performance is really like tight, and like I just from him always get this energy of like, this is a person who has taken the time to like know exactly what he wants to do for the sake of like doing it for himself, and he's like made it like very like presentable, and he's like you know, like he's not just like swinging his dick around, like, you know, if I may, like he's like up there on stage, he's just like doing the music. I think Brianna is like that too, and I feel like really inspired by people like that. And I also think that they both just have a really good ear for like the dynamics, which is something I'm less confident in. So I've considered like maybe it'd be fun to record with Steven or have him like help us with our live show or whatever. But
Totally.
and then there's also Nick Keeling, which is like a funny thing to me. Do you guys know Nick? I guess he doesn't work at the library, but he works for like the bus for the Metro, I think. But he's just this like, he's a little younger. He's in like his mid-20s maybe, and he doesn't play like in a band or anything, but he does like he'll do like sound installations, and he did this like performance at the like landing dock thing at the Ohio River, like at the like steamboat landing, where he played like organ along to recordings of old steamboats. Like he just does very like creative and cool things that I'm like, I just get inspired when people just like do stuff like that, because I'm like, I didn't know we were allowed to do that, you know? So I think just like being around more people that are just like experimenting is a good direction to go. And also I feel like you don't really know, like I never knew we would record with John. I never knew Ray would play with us. It just kind of like falls into place sometimes, which is cool.
But
Yeah.
in that vein too, maybe not even necessarily collaborations, but do you have any favorite local artists? Do you have any favorite Cincinnati bands, Cincinnati musicians? You mentioned a few.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like Brianna Kelly and Stephen Patoda are both really wonderful, and Ray Fisher. Everyone that we've played with, I think, you know, like Pop Empire and Henry, like, they're all people who I admire a lot, and I think they all have, like, really unique energy, like, you know, Leggy works really hard. They've been like going for like over 10 years, just like keeping with it. Who else? Annie D is really great. She's like somebody who's definitely like such a like advocate and like supporter of other people too, which
Totally.
I really appreciate and admire her for. She's like a really genuine, like giving and curious person. Who else? Let's see. I should have made a list. My memory.
Jake, you got any faves?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I've been out of the scene for so long or something.
I know we're gonna go see Spoils in a couple of weeks because Jake hasn't seen them, and they're like a younger band. Like, yeah, I feel like it's funny because I feel like now, if like a couple of years ago we went to the Comet with Henry and we were all just like sitting around like, we're like those old punks now, like, you know, like it's a little bit weird. But yeah, there's all these younger bands that are like really cool. Spoils. I've heard good things about numerous people that I have not yet seen, so we need to go out and about more.
Yeah, the last show we played was with Touchdown Jesus and In the
Oh
Pines.
my God, yeah, Touchdown Jesus.
Two hard-working bands that are doing cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Just have a couple more questions. Which is, what are your future plans as an artist? Or do you have any like current goals? I know you said about recording a full-length album, but you're taking it slow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anything you want to speak to about the future for Strobobean?
Yeah, I think we have this collection of songs that we want to record and like getting, you know, we have some new stuff that we've both been kind of like working on separately. And yeah, I think the next step is to like protect and create that physical and emotional space I was talking about where we will record the album. Like I'm just actually working with kind of like a creative coach I just started seeing just to like help me kind of like set goals and stick to them and have accountability, because I have some current like writing goals as well. And I've been trying, my problem is always that I am really ambitious and I have like 20 different things that I want to be doing all the time. And I think that it's like you have to prioritize what you're doing. So I have to prioritize this and this like writing project that I'm doing. And my hope is that working with this coach will help me kind of like carve the time and like keep momentum with both, because you would think that it would like kind of go hand in hand, but they're just really different practices. So it's hard to keep them both like steady in parallel. But for Strobobean, I think like definitely just recording this year and taking our time and making sure it's something we really like. Like I've kind of gotten back into, I mean, haven't we all, but like vinyl and just like physical copies of music. And just like there were a couple of shows that I went to last year out of town that were like bands that I didn't know very well or at all, and I saw their performance and I was just like there for it and watching it and like present, and it's like blew me away. And then I like bought the vinyl and then I went and had them sign it, and then I like listened to it all the time, like, and it just felt very like returning to not streaming, not online music, and that felt really good. And I would love to like engage with people in that way with music too. Like I think as an artist in general, I have this big theme of like being offline and like being off social media and like finding ways to like keep that alive and like keep people's attention that doesn't involve the internet, which is really hard, but it's just kind of like something that has been around for me and that is important. So finding ways to maybe like get creative and make Strobobean, I don't know, I've even thought about like a paper newsletter, like things like that is just like, I think that will keep me more engaged, and just like, again, giving myself permission to just like kind of do whatever with it, or like letting ourselves be more playful, not with just how we write, but with how we like engage with the music, with the world, I think.
What, no analog fair plug?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because like one of the things that I've done is I started this music festival that I guess is, I don't know, it's a very like grassroots thing, but it's called Analog Fair, and it's like the goal was for it to not be marketed on social media at all and be very like offline. So that's been 3 years of that. But yeah, that's just an example of like, that was kind of like an idea that I had in 2021 where we were all coming out of like getting vaccinated and kind of coming out of our houses, and I was just like had spent all this COVID time just like on social media, like comparing myself to other people's lives, and I'm like, what, like, can we market a show offline? Like, can we get people to show up with just flyers and like word of mouth and stuff? So it was like kind of an experiment in that vein that's become, it keeps growing, so we'll see where that goes. But that's kind of like a Strobobean adjacent situation. Yeah.
All right, the final question, which I feel like will be really interesting from you guys, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, of course, is what is your advice to other local musicians?
Well, okay, let's see. I mean, I think like show up for each other, and when you do, like really show up, like go to, if you're gonna go see someone play, like go see someone play, and like put your phone down, like don't get drunk, don't be there to like party, just like be there to be like present and engaged and like connect with people and like have conversations just with people that are there. Like I think that, you know, every show is like completely unique. Like it's never going to be the same people in the same room again, and I think that that is like one of my sort of like stoner philosophy moments that I had one time at like Motor, when there was like this touring band that was just like really like 70s like glam rock, like pelvic thrusting long hair, like suede vest or whatever. You remember that? And there were like all of these like kind of like boomers and like Gen X like guys that like all these like balding men in the front that like had their beers, and they were just like, yeah, and they were like all really into it, and it was like really charming. Do you remember that? It wasn't that long ago.
I'm trying to remember what the name of that.
It was just like, it was just like, I wasn't, it's not like music that I would listen to, but I was like really touched by just like the scene and just being like, I don't know, like the theme, like this is like my theme, right? It's just like, it's not about like ego and like fame and like attention and being liked. Like ultimately and like originally, like the root of music is like storytelling or like performing or just like, you know, before the recordings, it was just like people being in a room and like listening to someone like doing it. And like, we just like really lost that plot, if you will, you know, like I think like, it's hard, like it's really hard to put music out. It's really hard to be a musician, like in that you're like, I'm making something like vulnerable that I want to share with people, and there's a chance that I'm gonna like put this on Bandcamp or whatever, and it's gonna get like 2 downloads, and I'm gonna feel like, and one of them's like my mom, you know, and like love my mom, she's always one of the people, but like, you know, like it's just like, it sucks to be like, you put so much into something, and then sometimes if you don't, I don't know, like it's just luck, circumstance, like marketing, like if you're on trend, I don't really know like what it is, but like there's a ton of music and there's a ton of people trying to like land in front of people that will listen to it, and it's like really hard to, if you get like caught up in like how many plays you're getting or how many likes you're getting or something. And that's why I think it's like I'm always just trying to remind myself like it's just about like the present, like it's about like the opportunity to connect even with like one person, you know, and to also be really, really grateful for like the times that you do connect, and to maybe even like write them down if like someone says something nice to you, or you have like a show that feels really good, or you have a really good conversation with someone, or like, I don't know, like just to like remember those moments, because they're more important than if you feel like your reel got a lot of views or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm in training to be a yoga teacher right now, so I think mindfulness is like very much at the forefront of my mind, but it literally is just like this freaking moment right now. Like this is life. Like we're in this room right now. Like this is life happening. Like you just have to like show up for the moment and like be there with it and like be grateful for it and stuff and like witness it. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Jake, do you have any advice to local musicians?
I could probably talk on the subject for a while, but like, I don't know, a couple of like, trying to like boil it down to like actionable, I don't know, helpful things to say. It's like, well, one thing is we have like, as far as, well, I don't know, I guess I should say this first. It's like, when it comes to like playing shows, like having a clear intent, like sense of intention is like really helpful. So, I don't know. Do you want to spread your message far and wide and meet as many people as possible, or are you more interested in kind of like developing like your niche here and kind of like cultivating that? It's like, I don't see any problem with either, but like, it's just like a clarity of approach is important, because I don't know, I think a lot of people in mid-sized cities can kind of like think they're doing one, but actually be doing the other. I don't know. So I would say like, don't take Cincinnati itself and the scene and its politics and its limitations too seriously. We live in a sweetheart of a region as far as touring goes, because you can drive an hour and a half in pretty much any compass direction and get to a city the same size as this. And then you can do it again and again and again, pretty much until you get to like Iowa, you know, like, whereas like, I don't know, I had friends playing music in Denver, for example. It's like 6 hours to the next city, or you're just playing Boulder and then Denver again, and then like Colorado Springs and then Denver, like, I don't know. So like, we can like, I don't know, you can go on a weekend and play Chicago and, you know, Bloomington on the way back, or something like that, and like meet a bunch of people, probably not make rent, but like, I don't know, like just like really like spread your vision and your kind of like personality and like your approach that much further. And like, I don't know, I've just kind of always had this suspicion, like if we really like lit up the network of like mid-size or like smaller bands, indie bands in these smaller markets, and like kind of like really kind of developed a strong network of cooperation. Like, I don't know, I don't think that the kind of like singular markets like Chicago and New York and LA and stuff, like, I don't know, be that much bigger all told, or like, I don't know, I think that would give us kind of like a regional kind of like powerhouse of like cross-pollination and ideas and stuff like that. I don't know, not to say it's not already happening, but like, I think that there is some potential there that we haven't fully tapped.
Yeah, I think definitely touring is like one of my, we haven't even like talked about touring, but it's like one of my favorite things about playing music, like the adventure. Like, I feel like I'm such an advocate for like flyover country and like really anti-bi-coastal elitism, and I think that like touring is like helped that, because you get to like go into all of these little like scenes that are like the same size as ours and see that there's like so many cool people doing these cool things and paying low rent, hopefully, you know, like just like, it's like the Midwest is cool. Like there are a lot of like musicians, there are a lot of like bands like our size or like smaller independent bands that we've seen from like Donzi from Florida and like Scrunchies from Minneapolis, and just like again, all these bands that aren't getting like blown up, like they're not all over like Pitchfork or something, but they're like super talented and doing really incredible things. And it's like a really like, I would say like as a local band, like that's definitely like a really cool thing to be a part of, whether you're like receiving those emails from those touring bands and like helping them set up shows or like, you know, planning shows in their cities. Like, I think that the like independent kind of exchange, which we've just kind of fallen out of a lot since COVID, we just haven't like toured very much since then. But like, that's just like a really special to be like local, like the local scene, like branching out and like kind of people know Cincinnati, you know, like a good example is like Dead, who's now like a pretty like successful big band. Like, you know, they tour a lot. They're like well-known indie bands. But like they've played in Cincinnati, like they played at the Comet, like they kind of like came through here, like stayed at people's houses that we know, like we're all like friends with them. They're really chill people. It's just like you get to like be a part of these like people that are like really invested in what they're doing, which is a really neat experience. So getting an apartment that has room for an air mattress is a piece of advice. And I also want to shout out, I thought of another band, which is Lung and Daisy Kaplan and Kate Wakefield, who I was thinking about talking about touring, because Daisy is also just like such an advocate for indie artists and for like, you know, Lung tours, I think Kate said that they tour like 200 days. I don't know, they tour like over half the year. They're on the road. They just are constantly on the road playing, and they're a two-piece, so I think that that's like nice that they can be in like a small car, but you know, they're both really, they work really hard, but they're also really like giving and generous people to like other artists, and that's really important to have, so yeah.